Hello guys, I'm your host Luke, and today we're going to be going over a continuing problem that I have with the mainstream writing off alien abductions as just sleep paralysis. So, sleep paralysis, for those who don't know, I've done a couple videos on this now, is where you're asleep in your bed, but you wake up and your eyes are uh, able, or your eyes are open and you can see through them, but your body can't move. So you're coherent, but you can't move. Why they associate alien abductions with sleep paralysis is that in a lot of the scenarios, the people report a feeling of not being able to move or a heavy pressure or sensation on their chest. A lot of different things may overlap in these situations, but it's not a catch-all, as I'm about to show you. These people aren't describing... Well, I will say that sleep paralysis is usually associated with visions in your subconscious that were hallucinations or something. But these hallucinations, most of the time, sure, some of them report UFO-like or alien abduction-like experiences, but not always, as you're about to see. So I went on Ask Reddit. All these experiences will be linked below. And I asked, what's your experience with sleep paralysis? And I got 12 responses. I'd like to thank these people for responding. But the first one is, happened to me as an adult a year ago or so after my brother died. I couldn't move in complete darkness because I blacked out the windows. It felt like I heard my brother's gait walking through my room. I know his walk and could imagine him doing this to me just because he figured out how to from the dead. The next one is, I used to sleep with a lot of pillows, and I used to get sleep paralysis a few times a week because one of my pillows would fall on my face, and I'd lay there struggling to breathe until I snapped out of it. I found the best way to wake myself up was to imagine rocking my body from side to side, all while freaking out about my breathing. The next is, a few years back, I was involved in a horseback riding accident that killed a friend. In my most recent dream, I was caught under my horse, and the weight was crushing me. My eyes were open, and I knew it was a dream, but I couldn't move or wake myself. I could just lie there telling myself the horse was dead and that I was dreaming. I tried to scream but couldn't. Just stuck on my back, staring at the ceiling, half in a dream with the full weight of my dead horse on my chest. The next is, I woke up in the middle of the night and my airways were completely closed. I kept trying to take a breath and I couldn't. I just laid there and I couldn't breathe for a while, and it was so scary. Eventually I could sit up as I got out of it and took a big breath. I don't even know if it was sleep paralysis. It was a one-off thing 3 years ago, but it scared him so bad. Another one, I saw lights moving around the cracks in my door, which for some reason I thought was completely normal. Then I suddenly felt like I was being pulled off the bed to the side by someone on the floor, and I could only hyperventilate, not scream. Then I woke up and was just paralyzed in fear for a few minutes. It was especially scary because a few years back, a meth addict broke into their house in the middle of the night and basically held him and his family hostage in their living room for a few hours because he thought his wife was in our house and we were hiding her somewhere. The next is, it's happened to me twice in my lifetime. With both times, I felt paralyzed and could sense a figure standing at the foot of my bed, but could not raise my head to look at what it was. In both instances, I fell back asleep before I could move, and all was normal when I woke up. Next is a burning black humanoid figure holding me down by my neck. Another one is I have sleep paralysis every once in a while. And one of the most scariest moments was one time I woke up and sitting next to me was a little kid at the end of my bed watching me. The last time I had it, I didn't see anything, but I heard a conversation between two people, a man and a woman. I can't remember exactly what they were saying, but they were arguing then when the man yelled, "Do it now." The person woke up. The next is I woke up to what sounded like scraping metal, a kind of high-pitched shriek that makes you want to rip your ears out, and it came from the corner of the room where I thought I could see the silhouette of a very tall man staring down at me. The next is I get it when I'm stressed out. When I get it, I hear a really loud whooshing noise and feel gusts of wind blowing onto me from above. It's crazy when the whooshing and wind subsides. I generally feel a presence of something malicious in my vicinity. Thankfully, this has happened enough to where I know it's just sleep paralysis and nothing to panic about. I keep my eyes closed to make sure I don't see any monster created by my mind, and after a minute or so of focusing on my breathing, I snap out of it. The next is there's a shadowy figure at the side of my bed. I was 12 years old. The last one is I'm lying in bed with my eyes being open, but my vision is blurry. I can hear someone calling for me to wake up, and my limbs are filled with molten lead. I can feel my hands start to budge ever so slightly after wrenching on them, but I'm exhausted. I've maybe managed to move my entire body a centimeter, and even then I'm not sure if I've moved at all. I keep trying to bring my hands up to try and rub the blurriness out of them, but I can't move. My ears are ringing, but over it I can still hear someone calling for me to get up. I try and swing my legs over out of the bed, but nothing happens. Sometimes I can feel my limbs finally giving way and moving, but when I look to confirm it, I'm stock still. I can look at my hand, and my eyes are telling me it's motionless, but if I close my eyes, I can feel it moving around. This usually goes on for some kind of unspecified time until I bolt upright, finally actually awake. People that responded. The next is I first heard about the phenomenon of sleep paralysis about 2 years ago, and until now was afraid it might happen to me one day whenever I remembered it was a thing. Well, this morning I had the great luck of waking up unable to move. Even my eyelids were close to impossible to move. This was coming off of a mild nightmare about a serial murder case, which ended with a movie-like scene of the killer breaking into my house. Now, going from this scene into sleep paralysis, I obviously figured what I could hallucinate when I forced my eyes open with great effort was going to be the killer, complete with jump scare and everything, but either because of the framing of the previous dream like a movie or something else I don't quite understand, I was fully aware that A, this was sleep paralysis, B, the Jason Voorhees I glimpsed on my bed was a hallucination, and C, if I ignore him and keep my eyes shut until the paralysis ends, I can avoid the jump scare. It just happened like 20 minutes ago and I'm still shaking, so I need to get everything out. And sorry if you can't find any orthography error. I've been experiencing SP since I was 15 years old, and it's getting creepier and incrementing as I grow older. I guess because of my anxiety getting worse. Anyways, I found the sub and I've been reading everything literally because I wanted to know if it's similar to my experience as somebody else, because I'm trying to get a remedy if there is one. So a couple of days ago I encountered a comment and said that it might help to count and breathe until it passes. They tried and they were deeply scared but did try, and that's what happened. I remember I was dreaming. In the dream I was about to have an accident in my car, and obviously I was scared and it woke me up. But I woke up slowly and immediately I felt the skinny arms and thought, oh no, not again. I remember the comments, so like I was saying, I was scared, but I'm willing to try anything, so I started counting. I think I don't even get to 3 before that thing scratched their face like it was caressing them. And they freaked out and started screaming with all their heart as they couldn't focus on anything for a couple long minutes. And then they saw their feet and was kicking, but they weren't moving. I felt so helpless, thought I was going to die. Because I always feel the tug on my SP, but he touched me like a baby. So by the time I finally break the hug, I was recovering my breath, and I still feel the presence of quote unquote that. But obviously, I cannot move yet because I was weak, and that's when I hear that thing trying and crawling out of my window to get out. It was so real, the sound. When he left, that's when I gained back what little strength I had to turn around. P.S. I was sleeping in my car for lunch. I was listening to Mr. Brightside. I woke up and couldn't move my arms or legs that much, and I felt a black figure walking up to me, probably my girlfriend, and I was able to extend my arm a bit and poke her. Then I focused on the ceiling fan and closed my eyes because I thought it was just sleep paralysis. I just wanted to sleep again, but I saw the ceiling fan even though I closed my eyes, and it was as though my eyelids were glass, and then a black blob of ink started bleeding from a hole I made by looking at it, and it was as though I stabbed the ceiling with my eyes. Then I panicked and wanted to get up, but I felt my body getting sucked out of itself and getting split into 2. I was halfway through separating and just collapsed into myself again while I was hearing a girl laughing at me from my left side. Then all of a sudden, I started gaining control of my ankles and wrists and shook the noise away. And after that, I started to get paranoid about that figure walking around me, and I couldn't find the motivation to cover myself or move. I was just paralyzed by fear now. Okay, so first I'd like to thank all these people for sharing their experiences, and I understand that it is a very frightening topic. Thank you for sharing your experiences. I just don't like that they're writing this away by arguing that all alien abductions are just sleep paralysis. Because I've covered almost 20 of these now on this channel, and none of these have to do with the person sleeping in a bed. And also, but going over these sleep paralysis stories, I'm really not hearing alien abduction, or none of these people were experiencing any beings that looked like aliens in their experiences that they were freely sharing, right? Because I didn't hear any of that. One, it seemed like almost anything can happen, or, almost any hallucination can happen, but most of the time they say like black shadowy figure. In alien abductions where like the Greys come into your room, they are seeing the actual figure, and it's not just a shadowy, vision or something. But I did find it interesting that some of the people did report feeling that they were like being moved against their will, like floating or something. And so, yes, there is overlap. But, like the Pascagoula abduction didn't happen while the guy was sleeping. He was fishing or the A70 abduction incident. Go watch that video. That's the most watched video on my channel. It happened when two guys were driving down the highway. I mean, none of these have to do with sleep paralysis, do they? I think the Manhattan transfer abduction happened when the lady was in her bedroom, but this isn't most of them, guys. I mean, that's just a terrible argument that, oh, it's just sleep paralysis. They're all lying. And then talking to these people. I mean, by reading these stories, you can tell that the emotions are very real. And, you know, that they're not making this up. I mean, it's pretty crazy that our minds are such fragile things like this. But I think it is, I think they're two separate things. And that needs to be explored. But this is a continuing topic. Thanks to these people once again for sharing your experiences. It sucks that you're going through this. I'm sorry that you are. Like this video if you liked it. Follow the channel for up-to-date notifications as to when I release paranormal related content. I have a few ones coming up. A few end slate notes, I guess, are that if anybody wants to help me with one of these two things, it'd be much appreciated, and you can either contact me via one of my social medias or tell me in the comments down below. I want to help connect. I want to connect with you guys more. And one of those ways I can do that is by setting up a Snapchat and interacting with you guys on that. Trying to increase engagement with the community. Because I am over 100 now, so I'm going to keep continuing this channel because it's really fun for me. And the other is there's an AI program called Paints Chainer or something, and I don't really understand the terms of service if I'm able to use it for commercial purposes, because I am hoping to eventually monetize this channel. I know I'm still only 1/10 of the way there, but I feel like this was the biggest hurdle, getting to 100. Thanks for following me. But yeah, if anybody wants to help me understand that, have a great day, and